right. Whenever you are ready.
Welcome, and we're so pleased you're here. But first of all, we're going to get you to come into the room to kind of get settled because you will fulfill more of your potential today. That's why we're so pleased that you're here. But first of all, take a breath and just hold it for a bit. Now, start to let it go. And as you let it go, feel your body relax. Now, another breath. Let it go again. You're actually feeling more of your body, which is why we use the word feel in quotations because that's what you're meant to do. One more, another breath. And now we're ready to begin. And as we've said, we're so pleased you're here and we've waited for you your entire lives, and there are never any accidents. Now, we want to tell you what happened because some of you had the information from Stan that the time was wrong, but we were doing something else in the background, which is always happening in the background. And that's what we've done to show you how brilliant you all are and how you decided to be in the world now so that you could manifest the life and world that you want to have. And we've just given you all the information to do that. So while all of that was happening, before Stan thought that there was a mistake, we had our being sitting here and going back to 2008 because we like to work in these kind of sequences so you understand there's an organization in your universe and there's an organization within you, which means that you came into the world at a very precise time so that you could manifest your wonderful life, and it is happening right now, which is why we decided to do it on your full moon, which is as you're ending your Mercury in retrograde. So now the energies will move a little more and you can hear us a little better. And that's what we're saying because none of you understand exactly what you have, and our messenger didn't either. So, what we did was this past week, and we've done this all for you because we wanted you to love yourself. We know what it's been like in your world over these last several years when we wanted you to understand that you decided to live because you had something great that was going to come through. Now, we know that we said that we talk about you're perfect, you were born perfect. That's what was sent out because you will make different ideas about that. We said you were born perfect. You don't know that because you have to live your life to discover it. And every time you discover it, you say, wow, this is who I am, and I am this brilliant person. But you do that over linear time, and we do not. And so, again, if you look back to 2008, you can see what we gave you there. But even in 2012, we said that on this date, potential exists in every situation. So when there wasn't this idea that there was a mistake that happened this morning, it never occurred. Because our being would just sit here and say, oh, that means I'm just supposed to go in another direction. And see, that's what we've given you. And so we gave you something today that we called your gift. That's what we're going to give you because we had him sit down and just take every date from December 15th from 2008 because there was an energetic alignment. And then we just had him just put every title up there so you could see how you grow in your awareness or acceptance of who you are. That is individually and collectively. So what we're saying is that we've given you a new philosophy that was meant to come into the world at this time to help your world become what it could be, but that can only happen through you. That's why we've given it to you. But we understood that it was hard for you to understand that because our messenger didn't either. And so we had him sit down and put together all of these different videos, and we gave you so much information because we told him he has to change. All of you do. Because, see, fulfilling your potential means stepping into your authentic self. That authentic self of who you are happens over time. And many of you might have done that. You might have gotten there, but we know that more of you have not. Because if you had, your world would look a lot different and your lives would be different. But what happens is you hold back. And so we decided today would be the day that none of you would do that and you would fulfill your potential. Now, we know that we have given you everything that would allow you to do that. And we've said this many times. See, because you don't need to have any of the things going on in your lives or the world that you do now, but it's just that you don't believe certain things. Our messenger didn't believe that we had given him all this information, and you have it as well. It's within you, it just gets developed. Now, understand this over time in civilizations, and we've given you all of this, we had him go back and find just the other day, because we like to surprise you all, we had him find a video, a session that we did that was done in 2021 that was the same configuration, not the same, but similar to this particular configuration that is happening on this date. None of you could have known that. He couldn't have known that because we have given it to him in advance. And then we wanted to prove something else, because there is organization in your universe and you each have a divine plan. What we have given you is a way to find your divine plan, which we called an ascension guide, because you all have it. There are no beings that are born without that. You all have something, but it just develops in different ways and in different times, and it also comes in generations, which is why we said this is a generational shift that you're all moving through. And so it could be a little difficult. It could be a little challenging because you haven't understood how all of humankind could be evolved to a place where you could create this wonderful world. So what we did, and we said it in the video yesterday that we had him find and put up there again, that we sent you. We said we sent him to you, but you couldn't understand that or accept it. And guess what? He couldn't either. And so we had to prove it. And so what we did, and he was so exhausted because we wanted him to stop now, because he's 74 years old and he's reversed and done everything that all of you are looking to do, but he couldn't hold on to that because he loves you so much. We're saying this because we said that too. It came through in the other session. He knew that he had everything that could help you all create the lives that you wanted to have, and he was afraid of it. And he held himself back, and we've proven it to you because we've given you all the messages where we told him. And then we said, we might have finally broken you. We've said that to him a few times as well. And broken him means that we let him have him let go of his resistance of what he had so that he could help all of you, because that's the only thing you do as well. The only thing you have ever done is just not believed who you were. You just didn't understand your path. And what we are saying, every single human born has worth and value. You just make different distinctions and classifications that you have accepted, but you accepted those from something that came before. This is a change in your generation. And so this is why we said we gave you a new philosophy that's called your life operating instructions, because we wanted to give you something that would really cause your lives to be wonderful and your world to be what it could be, but you can't do it unless you're looking at everything that you didn't do before, which is why you're having a restructuring, as we have called it. And that's why you decided that you were going to live to go through it. And the way that you're doing that is looking at your life and looking at all the things that you didn't do that you didn't think you could do. Because we know that you can. You just have to change your consciousness. And it's a path that you do to there's a consciousness that you will use. Now we want you to understand there's a collective consciousness as well, meaning that you will be presented with something and then you won't necessarily accept it right away because it hasn't been generally accepted by all of your society, your humankind. And so when our messenger started doing what he was doing in 1989, everyone thought that's really bizarre. How is he doing that? And he's not going to tell you. And he did that for 20 years. But that was okay. That was purposeful. And we've said this before. And if you go back and hear any of our older sessions, you will hear that. See, because when we did that first session that we just had him put up there, we had to twist his arm because he didn't want to do it. That's just what, like you see, the thing that you want to do that you're a little afraid of, you don't think you have it, you do. It's just a matter of moving over the barrier. You wouldn't have anything in your consciousness that it's before you unless it was going to help you evolve on your path, because you have a wonderful path you were given, every single person. And the only reason you won't fulfill it is because you just don't want to. That's it. We wish we could tell you that it was something else, but that's the only thing. And our messenger can speak to that because he's done it his entire life. But the beauty is now he can leave something with you that you never have to do that. We're talking about you, the individual, and your world. You can make different choices. See, because we gave you a message that said utopia is attainable. And we can say that, but each of you will look at that and say, no, that's not possible. Look at those people. We hate them. See, we gave you all of that as well. Because, see, at some point you start to realize, oh, wait a minute, we're all humans. Why did they tell us something different? Why have I not understood who I am? Why can't I love myself? Why am I feeling insecure? Why am I always afraid of something? You were taught that. And so we gave you a new philosophy, and we did it with someone who decided that he was going to devote his entire life to this. And then we tricked him the other day, though. It was a couple of weeks ago, because we did something that triggered him, because many of you are being triggered now. You know, when you get upset, when you get really angry, when you want to do something, that's because you've been withholding. And so we did that to him, but we did it with someone that he knew, with Yarna, who said something to him about ego. He said he was accusing Roger of going out and doing something with his ego. And we said, no, no, that is. And so Roger heard that, and it just triggered him, because guess what it did? It took him back to the very first message that we gave him, and that was on February 19th in 1989, where we told him what he had, but he feared it. And he was afraid that he was going to use it in an ego oriented way. And we said, you would never do that. Why do you think that? It was a belief that he had implanted in his head. And so he spent 35 years still believing it, because he thought, I'm going to hurt people if I tell them everything. And it's exactly the opposite, because what he has developed and what he's done to give to all of you could change your lives and change your world if you could only believe it. We had to get him to believe it first. And that's what we've done, and we've proven it to you. And so the rest of it will be up to you. Because we said also the things that are really difficult in time and space, we get that you don't understand it. But so we're giving you ways of getting that. And so we gave you December in the little gift that we'll send you with a replay. We'll put it out there. We just had him do this morning, because we wanted to show you, we've done it several times, where we would just take a particular date and just put messages after message, because you will accept it over a time collectively and then individually. This is why we kept using that one reference, because we thought it would be cute. We used Roger Bannister, about the person who could run the sub 4 minute mile. No one could do that before. Well, here's the other Roger, who's done all the other things that you said couldn't be done. But now we just have to get him to document it, because it was frightening for him, just like it will be for you. And we said this as well. You'll have it. We said self-discovery can't be frightening, because the thing that frightens you is you discover what was within you that you didn't know, and you were just holding it back. But we don't want you to judge yourself. That's why we're having him go move through all of this. He decided he was use his life in this way. That's not you. You came to do something else that's here right now, and that if you start to do it, then you're going to shift the energies of your world, and you're going to see something change. Now, when you read the December that we're giving you, because we put all the messages out, we've given you everything, and so we just had them put a link there with all the December messages. And if you were to read them now, you would be so much better off moving through the rest of this year, going into 2025, because that's when you'll have the greatest inner source of this energy, if you use it now, to collectively build it to create this magnificent life and world that you all want to have. And we know that that can happen, and we've proven it to you, because how else could a being come into the world from birth and have all the physical things that you each are worried about? He had all of those things wrong with him from birth, from the time he came into the world, and now at 74, it's all gone, because it's alignment, and we have given you alignment. And so when we said we gave you your birthday in 2012, we did, and all of you doubted it, including him. And then we started to show him just recently, and he did this research, and he's going to do more of it, because he started to see that everything we had given you was organized with the changes of the energies of your planet, because that's the only thing that affects all of you is energy. That's where we started, with energy so that you can understand it and you each have access to it. The only thing you've been taught is that, oh, wait a minute, I'm this person, I'm this color, I'm this race, I'm this gender. I couldn't possibly be as brilliant as the other person. And that's the lie that you've been telling yourself. And we've told you, and we gave you a message about your contradictions. Because see, what you've all done is you've come into the world and you have these religions and these ideas, and they tell you you can be all these people, and then you say, no, I can't. They say you can just achieve everything. And then you say, nope, can't do it. And so that's why when we say that we've given you everything that could really cause you to have this wonderful life and change your world, we know that most of you aren't seeing it. This is why we kept talking about cognitive dissonance, and we want you all to study that. But we did it for you. Because what we did, we had our messenger. He's been doing this for years. And this is why he kept talking about, if you go to his website and read all the articles, we've given him all the information about everything that was happening in your world and within you. See, because you each are creating the world. You just have different ideas that you've made and accepted about how important you might be. But we know that you're all that important. This is why we gave you something different. You see, and at first we're going to clear this up because then we're going to get your questions and this is going to be wonderful. So what we did when he first started, he goes, wait a minute, am I supposed to be a Martin Luther King? Is that why I'm going to that? Is that why I feel, or was it John Kennedy? Because he felt such a connection to that. And we said it was all of them. And then we took him back. We just kept going. And we went back to the Hermetic principles, Hermeticism, whatever you think of. We put it all out there. And then we told you that we've given you everything so that you would create a better world because we didn't want you to destroy it like you did before. And we said that if you listen to us, you could you could even change climate change because you don't have to do those things because you would start loving yourselves a lot more. And we've given you a pathway to that. And so now there will be no more doubt. And now our messenger can finish because the other thing that happened today, because you all do yourselves in, and he's done it too. Self-sabotage, the thing that many of you think that you're doing, that is only when you decide you're not going to love yourself. You're not going to move through a restriction that's right in front of you. We've given you that. You'll see it today because it's always right there, you see? And he's done the same thing, but he had to do it because otherwise he could not have brought this work. It's challenging for certain roles that some might have taken, but it doesn't become challenging anymore when they accept it, and that's exactly what he's did. All the pain that he's moved through is gone because now he can give it to you. He can give you the healing. He can show you the way because then you will do it. You see, that's how this works. That's what we keep trying to explain. That consciousness is never formed. It's always evolving. And you each have a role. But you must get this concept. The only thing that has happened over generations, you have talked yourselves out of your importance. And then you keep passing it on. Now, we gave you another message, and we want to tell you, we did send it to Stan. It was one that we gave you in 2017, because that's where we started. You see, in 2021, when we had to convince our messenger to do a session, he didn't want to do it, but we said, you have to because you have this information. We want them to understand what's going to happen in what you're going through. And it's a wonderful opportunity that you all have. And that sounded totally ridiculous, especially when you're in the midst of your pandemic and going through all of those things. But we started before that, you see. And so then we told you what you would be encountering. And we said you're going to see differences of power, control of power, but you have it. See, you came to change all of that. Money, love, power, and control. That's what you have. You have, from the beginning of time, you've used money to control one another, and then you think that if you have enough money, that's how you'll feel in control or control others. And you keep passing that on, and then none of you come to understand how important you all are. And so you've just gone through that. This is why we talked about the United States so much, and you saw it. You saw it right in front of you, everything that we said, but we gave it to you before. And then you go through times where you will shift societies, and you do that all the time, and that's why we wrote the articles, and it's all in there if you read it. Because we had our messenger go back and do some research, which we advise all of you to study your history, and then you would know a little bit more. But he did it for you, so it's okay. because we want you to understand you're here now to create something wonderful and it's within you. And the only reason you don't know that is because you've been talked out of it. So you needed a new philosophy. We said needed because you don't need anything, but we felt that that word would be more appropriate now as you're looking at the distress in on your planet. You came to fix it, and we've said all of that. But again, we're saying this in this way because we've said everything before, but you could not have heard it, and our messenger did not hear it either, which is why we kept saying, please have him listen. And it was because it's always so shocking to him when he goes back and hears what we have told you. And he said, oh, why didn't I do it? It's the same for all of you. That's why we're doing it today. So now let's take your questions, and we'll have such great time with you.
Okay. Yes, we are going into the questions now. And yeah, just to let everybody know, we will have those December messages for you when we send out this replay to you. We have some of you who sent in questions when you registered. I have them. Brilliant. If you have any more questions or if you haven't had a chance to do so, please put your question in the chat and I'll ask it on your behalf. And so let us begin. What can I do today to align with my true purpose?
You just did it. You just by being here. You heard it. You did it. And so now you, oh, this is so wonderful because see, you showed up. And then you didn't know what was going to happen because you showed up because you knew you were meant to go somewhere else. You didn't know what it was going to be. And then we had our messenger sit down and put together something that we're going to send you a letter later that will be a little gift for you that will show you your purpose because it's within you. You just uncover it. We've just given you a way to mine it. We love using that term because we want you to think of it as gold because that's what's within each of you. And so you just have to unearth it. That's all. And so thank you for that question because we love the acknowledgement that you did just by asking the question that maybe you think that you don't have a purpose, but we gave you a message on that one as well, that you're always walking in that purpose, but it has to be uncovered by you. And those just taking the steps, and it's always a step in front of you. It's never anything before, it's always the next one. So thank you for that.
One day, after a rough day of work, I cried my heart out. I cried about how much my job is just something I really don't want to do. I'm a bartender. As I cried, I looked up at the lights in my home and saw rainbow auras around them when I received a stream of thought that said, I have finally chosen. I have no idea what that means. What was the purpose of this vision, and could you tell me what I chose?
We told you already. And we even put it out there last week. We said the rainbow is ahead, and you saw it. See, because the rainbow is when you have that clarity. And as we said in the message, that rainbow usually comes when you've gone through a lot of crap, when you've gone through a lot of stuff and you were crying. You were in that grief because you were finally acknowledging, I don't want to do this. Why am I not allowing myself to do the things that I love? And that's what many of you do. Our messenger has done it. This is why we're shifting him today, you see. But you did that and you were a beautiful demonstration. So thank you for that because then you came to clarity and you knew when you stopped crying, and we gave you a message on that to cry until the tears stop. Because when you stopped crying, there was a new awareness that came to you. And that's why you're here, and that's why you're hearing this. And so we're thrilled. And you will work out the new thing too. We don't want we know it's uncomfortable. We can feel this energy because you just want to leave right now, get everything in order, and start to decide the next place you're going, which is what we want all of you to do is start because this is the day that you're meant to plan the next version of your life. And so you have this awareness of that, and now just start doing it. And you're not going to believe it. That's okay. We just want you to plan it because when you put it in your consciousness, it comes about. I'm, again, we want you to understand when we sat our messenger down, it was in 2016. We stopped him and had him write a whole thing about what that mission was. He didn't do it, but he wrote it all out and then it started to manifest. And here we are today. You're doing that. So thank you.
I am understanding more and more. It seems I only need to trust that my information that I need will come through, that synchronicity is a natural occurrence, and that my increasing happiness will keep growing towards the ultimate goal. Is that true?
That's absolutely true, and it's tenuous. But we're so glad that you said it, you see, because you understand it. And now, because you've said it, you've given yourself validation or confirmation to put that information together, and it's going to help so many others. Now, because you all will say this, this is why we keep talking about your contradictions, because it's not that you don't know anything, you just don't keep doing it. You've come to learn about your neuroscience, for instance, in terms of how you change your brain, how you can change your brain to change thinking, to change how you see yourself, but you don't stay with it necessarily. And so this is why you set all of those things really wonderfully. And we're just going to say to you, you'll never stay there. But that's okay, because you will start to doubt that even that idea, which means that there's going to be new consciousness that's going to come through you. And we're so thrilled that you already have a head start on how to explain it to so many others, and you're going to help your life and also your world. So thank you.
Should I follow my gut and leave my family in New Jersey to move to the West Coast, specifically Las Vegas, with my two small children, mainly because of the weather, or should I stay here because of the semi-important system that I have in New Jersey? My gut is strongly telling me to go to Vegas.
We love that question so much because your gut is yeah, your gut is always right, but you won't always act on that. However, we will say this, because what we feel from that is that you're, and many of you, our messenger has done this, you've all done it. You feel the responsibility for certain others, and especially at this time, you might be finding yourself leaving certain situations of comfort that you thought were your security before. But you're meant to live your life. And so the hesitation that you had is that you think, I've been dependent on these folks. I don't want to be there really because I really want this for myself, but I've been somewhat dependent on them because of the financial stability or comfort or whatever I might find there. But I really want to be this empowered person. And so here is my dilemma. We want you to choose yourself. When you choose yourself, all the other stuff will come about. Now, see, what happens is when you don't choose yourself, you come into a lot of other difficulties on this physical plane. And this is what our being has done. He couldn't choose. And so he kept holding back. So we said, you can't do that anymore. So you are at that tipping point right now in your life. And so what you're seeing is why wouldn't you give yourself the thing that you love that causes you to feel great, and what you, and the other part of it too, and we're going to say this, we know you knew it, you knew that for your kids it would be a better environment, and so you would love that because it would cause you to feel so much better about the parent that you have become. And so, yes, trust your gut. And it's never going to be easy for any of you. But that's why you have the life. Why you can't just have reach your greatness like, without moving through some trepidation, some struggle, some doubt. That's because that's what you're supposed to have. Otherwise, your life would not have meant anything. You each come to the world to accomplish something. It's not going to be all the same or easy or all that, but it is something that's with each and every soul. And we know that because we've connected to universal consciousness. And so we know who all of you are. Thank you.
What do I need to hear right now?
You already did. You've heard it. You and we're so glad you asked the question, because asking the question whenever you put it out, it's saying you want to hear, and we've given you that as well, because it's so wonderful. We just love this because you'll see it today, where you said you pretend that you can't hear. Our being has done that. You all do it. That's why we talked about the still small voice, that many of you try to figure out what that meant, or you thought it was some religious thing. No, it is your consciousness, because you each have it. And it's an independent consciousness that you have, but you come into the world to put it together with collective consciousness to create something greater. Now, this is why you're all here now. And that's why we also talked about the ego thing, which we will go into a little bit. But for you, for you, you've opened up so much for so many others. So thank you for that. All right, we'll take what's next.
Dear Wilhelm, how do I learn to trust my intuition? Many thanks.
You just did it again. You're oh so great. See, this is why we're doing this. And we're going to tell you something else. We're going to do a couple of other things because you there's some other events coming up. Which you couldn't have understood, but we gave you the information. If you look at December 30th, there's another rare, but it's another new moon. We'll do something there. But then also the 21st, which is your solstice, which is a great time because you've waited long enough. We told you that too. You've waited long enough to become yourself, and you've also waited not long enough before you could create the kind of world that you all want to see. And we've given you all that information. So that is what is occurring for you. And so we're so glad that you're opening up for others to understand this process. Thank you.
In times when we question everything and struggle to slow down and trust our divine intelligence, what signs or guidance can we look for to recognize the right beginning of the path toward what we truly desire?
Okay, there are so many words in there that we're going to parse a bit because there is no right. That's what we keep giving you. You keep doing this. You all keep doing this right thing. You don't know that. And so, even in 2012, and well, yesterday we gave you a message. We said your truth is always correct. But what we meant by that is your individual truth. And your individual truth is not going to look like anyone else's because it is a part of your soul journey. And your soul journey is connected to source, it's connected to all that is. And you each have one. And they're all different. But you also have the damages that have been done all throughout your humankind as long as humans have been on the earth. And so it needed to shift. And that is what is happening now. And you're all accomplishing that by deciding to take the next step in loving yourself. So we you must understand everything is energy. And so you're going to uncover stuff about yourself that you're going to say, why didn't I know this? You weren't supposed to know it before now. Just give yourself, just love yourself a lot more. Just keep accepting the next step. And that is why we've laid everything out in the way that we have. And we had our messenger go kind of nuts just doing so many of them to show you that just take your time. And what happens is you feel peace. To answer your question, that's what happens. You start to come to this place where you say, I can relax. This is who I am. I know why I'm here. I know what I'm meant to do, and it's wonderful, and I'm going to leave a difference. This is what we're saying, because this is what we know you all can do. And we just gave you a way to do that. That's all. Thank you.
The holidays always seem to bring out this deep ache in me,
Mhm.
like I'm supposed to feel joy and connection, but instead I just feel alone.
Right.
Everyone around me seems so busy with their traditions, their families, their plans, and I feel like I'm just here floating in the outside watching it all. I've tried to shake it off by keeping busy or focusing on gratitude, but it's like there's this empty space that I can't seem to fill. How do I move through these holiday blues without feeling so disconnected?
You thank you so much. We could not have asked for a better question. And so you feeling that way is because you're not caught up in all the other stuff. That's why you feel that way. And you don't even like the other stuff that you're saying. That's why you don't want to be there because you know that there is something more. And there's something more is within you. And this is why this our messenger has always had difficulty with your holidays because he said, we think they're missing the point. You didn't miss the point. And now we would like for you to let go of your guilt and your judgment of yourself because you're saying, I'm supposed to be like all of them. We said, no, you're not supposed to be them. None of you are supposed to be them. You're coming in to develop something new that is within you. So please just let go of your judgment and decide to own yourself. The most powerful thing you can do during this holiday, not being out there with all of them, if that's not for you, it's just to say, I'm going to take care of me now. I'm going to really appreciate who I am and why I'm on the earth. Let go of the judgment first and forgive yourself because you've been doing that for a lot of years. But we want you to understand you did it for a great reason and it's coming up now so that you can help bring awareness to so many others. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. And now we are moving into the questions from chat, and we've got time for several more questions, so please ask away. You once advised me to stop judging. Is judgment the same as analysis? I know I've been in my head too much and overthinking everything. I always want to understand everything, but I'm realizing now that the mind can't always find the solution. So,
Correct.
where does the understanding, knowledge, and wisdom come from, and what is the mind really for?
The mind is for you to use all of your little thoughts, that you're using in consciousness to figure things out. That's why you're asking the questions all the time. But the mind is just this physical thing that you're using to perform the physical task. But what you come to is the real mind, which is your spirit. That's your soul. That's not connected to anything, which is why we said we wanted to give you a way to understand that aspect of who you are, all of you see, because it's been split off in your world for so long. So many of you have not found the way to navigate to your authentic self, because that is where you find everything. And so that's what you're each doing now, is moving to that place. So again, we don't want you to have any thinking anything has gone wrong, which is why we gave you the message the other day. Nothing has gone wrong in your life or world. You came to change it all. And you change that when you decide to walk your individual path and understand what that is. And so that's what you're doing. And again, all we've done is given you guides. We never tell you who you are, because we know that it's in there. All we do is mine it. We just get you to uncover it, because you uncover it when you let go of the restrictions and everything that told you you couldn't do it. That's all. That's what you're all doing. We're so pleased. Thank you.
You-
If in we're in this place, if we give you an answer and you're still here, if we have time, if you need clarification, we have time to do that as well. So thank you.
Perfect. Uh, there is a comment in the chat saying wonderful questions and answers all in perfect timing.
Mm. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for that, because whenever we pick up on the word timing, we want you to all to understand that this is why we've broken everything down. There is a timing that goes on in your universe, and it's connected to the energies of your planets. You each just figure out your own way and place in that over time. And so we're glad that you mentioned that. And so nothing is happening accidentally, which is why we said that on the thing that we're sending you today, because we want you to see it. And as you read all of December, you will come to know that again. Thank you.
The next question. We love getting our questions answered by beings we perceive to be greater or wiser than us, like yourself. But when for some reason we don't get an answer because of the time limit or technical issues or something else, I feel like that might be a sign to rely on ourselves or higher selves for answers. Maybe it's meant to teach us that we already have a direct connection and that we're limiting our perceptions of our own power. Is this true? And can you share more about this? Because I'll admit,
Yes.
though I feel really disappointed when I can't get an answer from someone I look up to.
Mm. There's so much in there. Okay, you feel disappointed because you're just a little frustrated for a moment, because you know that the answer is there. You just haven't seen it yet. And it's not that those other beings, and it's not us. We tell you all the time. All we're doing is guiding you, because we know that you have much more than we could ever have. We're saying this, we want you to understand. So as our being is sitting here now, he's bringing in the information that he's able to interpret and figure out from what has come through and existed in your world. But you each will take our information in your way, develop something new, and then create more. So you you have, which there's so much there. Everything that you did was an acknowledgement. Everything you said was an acknowledgement of this information and this awareness and intuitive wisdom that is beginning to come through you. And so, yes, when you are not getting an answer, when something happens and there's a technical thing or something, you're supposed to go back inside and find it, because it's there and you know that. That's why that came up, and that's why you felt that frustration and why you expressed it that way. So you forgive yourself, just let go of that, because we're telling you that we know that you've uncovered this awareness that's going to start develop, and you're going to start trusting it. So we're good. Thank you. Hmm.
I feel like I don't know anything anymore. It feels
Hmm.
like reality is just a collection of stories.
Mhm.
I don't know what's true anymore. Timelines seem to be shifting, narratives keep changing, and it's clear that the leaders of this world are not who we thought they were. Even the
Yes.
teachers I follow all seem to have different versions of the truth.
Yes.
What does this mean for us? Do we each just exist in our own little bubble of reality, creating what we believe? And what does this mean for our collective reality?
Okay. It feels like we just planted you all. Well, we did, because that's how a law of attraction works. We do bring you in that way. However, we wanted you to understand that, and you just said it brilliantly because the leaders are you. You're all looking at what's happening in your countries and your world and all of that and thinking, why is it happening this way? It's happening because you're here and you wanted to change it. And the way you change is by changing consciousness. The way you change consciousness is by deciding to believe something more than what has already existed. The only difficulty is you have a fear of the unknown, as our messenger did. When we're telling him, we're giving him all this information about what's going to happen and what's going to occur. He said, no, I can't believe that. But then he comes about and then he sees it and then he understands it. We're saying this because that's how what you each do. You will start to uncover information, you'll start to interpret it for yourself, and then you find your truth. There's you you come into the world as individuals, but there is this collective universe. We've said you're all moving to oneness, but you don't get there. This is why we've said, okay, we're going to go back here because you this is so brilliant for all of you. Um, we always do this. We send our messenger to things. We have him review things because he forgets, just like all of you. We had to find an interview with Tesla, the lost interview they called it, with Nikola Tesla. And if you listen to that, it's talking about exactly what we have been giving you all, which is why we have used the idea that you didn't believe Jesus, Buddha, or Tesla either. We've given you a couple of messages like that because we wanted you to understand that over linear time in your civilizations, you come to understand more, but it's with each of you. So, because you asked that question and we love it so much, yes, you're understanding that you're developing something within yourself that's going to cause the collective consciousness of the world to become more. And it comes through you. And so, yes, it's not going to look like anyone else, and it will be your truth. And that's why we said, even on yesterday, we gave you a message in the beginning in 2012, we said, your truth is always correct. We want you all to get that. Your truth, because the truth is who you are as a soul, which is why we keep saying there's no hierarchy of souls, but you just keep telling each other something different over centuries. And so we decided we're going to come in and change that for those of you willing to accept it. So we love that you brought that up because you want to feel something, that disconnectedness. That's what you wanted. And so now you're bringing that awareness about. And so, no, you're not doing it by yourself. You're with all of us. And that's what we love. Thank you.
Yes, we still have time for a few more questions. So if you've got them, now is the time. All right, the next one. How do I overcome the fear of leaving my comfort zone in New Jersey and move across the country with my two small children, even though I know it's what's best for us? I feel ready to go, but the thought of being on my own with my kids brings a lot of fear. How do I move forward despite that?
Are you you just do it. You're going to always have fear. And so and we've spoken of this often because our messenger, and all of you actually, because if you didn't have fear, you would have everything different in your life and in your world, but you all have fear. Because see, the reason you have fear is because you have to go into some unknown. That unknown is about who you are. Can I do this? Do I have the capability? And so you're going to question, you're going to doubt that, and then you're never going to complete it until you're never going to get over the fear until you do the thing that you're doubting or fearing. Now, of course, there are things that you're never going to do that you know are going to bring you harm, physical harm, or to someone else. You would never do that. So that's what we call real fear. Let's say we said that's fear. That's something to be looked at, but it's more like caution or something like that. But we also said that most fears that you all have are artificial, and the greatest one that you have never occurs. And we said that too, because you think you're going to die. That's what the main thing that you're all afraid of. That doesn't happen. And if you use it because if you have the fear of death, you get on with doing things. That's because when you look at things, and maybe I should do it now. Well, that comes about. But everything else in this physical form, that doesn't have anything to do with it. But you don't know that because you have to live in this life, this physical world, to accomplish something. And so the fear, and we're just going to tell you this because we want you to understand nothing is accidental because the message that we gave you tomorrow said the fear will help you. And if you look back on 2023 and look at the date December the 16th, you will see that because we knew that we would open you up to so much more, but you would still have that fear about taking the next step. But it will help you, you see, because you shouldn't have it. You don't need to have it when you become actualized and know who you are. And that's where you're moving to. So we just love that question so much. So thank you.
I feel so scattered. I've been searching for jobs, applying for grants, and trying to make progress, but it's just been one roadblock after another.
Mhm,
The CEO who dangled a job offer to manage a project has been all talk and hasn't even the funding for the project he's been promoting for months.
mhm.
I stayed here because I thought I'd be working on something meaningful, but it's all fallen apart like a bed of straw. I don't know what is next. SOS.
And nothing's falling apart. You're building something. Now, nothing. We can say this, and we know it's really hard for so many of you to hear that nothing goes wrong. You're being directed all the time in some way that's going to serve your journey and that of your world. So we just want you to find out what you want. You see, because what we felt in all of that is that you're dependent on these others that are holding the reins and the funding and all of those things. But the ideas and the information are yours. The wisdom, the knowledge are yours. And so we're feeling that there's something that you're wanting to create with all of that, whether or not it's with this particular organization or company, whatever it might be. We just feel that that is what's within you that needs to be developed. And that's why you're feeling the frustration because you're trying to have them move force, but you haven't accepted it all and you haven't accepted fully how much you have to offer and how much you could develop. And so that doesn't mean you're going to go out and change something right now. We just want you to sit with that. We just want you to think about it and realize how much is there. Because then we can see you looking at the others and saying, wait a minute, I understand all of this and I know what to do. They're waiting. So you're going to look at this and you're going to figure out a way that you will not wait to, to continue developing what you came to this world to offer. Thank you.
Lately, I've been feeling lost because I don't know what I want. Yeah, I don't know what I want or even what my needs are. I keep asking myself, but what I can't seem to find are any clear answers. It's like I've been so focused on everything and everyone else that I've forgotten how to tune into myself, I think. How do I figure out what I truly need and what I truly want?
This is We can't thank you enough for that. Why do you think we gave you our work? That's exactly it. What we wanted for all of you is to figure that out because you're never lost. And our messenger spent his entire life just putting it together so that because he thought that as well. I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. No, you're not lost. There's something within you that's being developed. Now, we want to say this. You will not do the same thing. There's certain people in your world, and you've seen them all. They're probably in your families. They're people who come in and they seem to know what they're going to do, and they start these careers, and they have that's them. That's not you. You came to do something else because you're not all meant to be stuck in those kinds of traditional things, which is why you're having this trouble right now, because there's something that's innate, that's within you that you have not allowed yourself permission to see, to look at, to develop, and have it turn into your life mission and your career and your vocation. It is there. And so we don't want you to have the judgment, though. Okay, all of you, everything you do is about self-exploration, self-discovery. None of you are ever done with that. That's why we said in this message today, even that your potential is always there. As long as you're in physical form, you can't even fulfill it all because there's still going to be more. So we just want you to calm down, but we love the fact that you brought this up because it just says that the thing that your higher self is getting you to do is just there being waiting for you to see it. And as you do the exploration, it will be there. And we can say this because we know that it's true. That's one of the few things that we could say that we know is true. Everything else is subjective, but the fact that every one of you has something wonderful to bring to the world, that we know is true. Thank you.
All right, and I think we're going to arrive here at our final question. And that question is, I know I can't change anyone else, but
Eh,
what are some ways that I can support others who are suffering on their journeys without coming across as preachy?
you- okay. Understand that the most part, we love that because many of you, our being has that as well. So he just, because it gets him frustrated because he sees so much, and this has been his greatest frustration. And we can just say it, and you're having it now, and we love that. So it could not be, it could not have been the best question to end this. Because what's happening is you're seeing an awareness that has come through you. That's an energetic shift that you have made. And so, of course, you want everyone else to have it. But they're not going to do that because they're going to be resistant. And you know that, which is why you hold back. And so then you're wondering, well, what can I do? And so, what we want you to do is love yourself. Love yourself a lot more just when you're with them and just love them. You don't have to tell them anything. Just show where you have come and keep doing that. See, this is how it works, why it becomes so brilliant for all of you. When you start loving yourself so much more, you start being that example for others, and they're going to look at you and go, wait a minute, why are they doing something different? You see? But when you're going around, this is what all of you're doing in your world. This is where the control comes in. You start trying to control yourselves, and then you think you can control others. This is why we gave you that message on money, love, power, and control because you learned control when you were a child from your parents, from all of those who, yeah. But now you're meant to do something different. So you're coming to that awareness, which is so wonderful. And guess what? You're doing it at the appropriate, exact right time on your universe, which is why we did it this today so that you could fulfill more of your potential and you just opened up to knowing what it is and just give yourself time and to accept it all. And we want you all to be patient with yourselves because what's going to happen is you're going to see all these things opening up in your lives and you're going to decide, am I going to do this? Because you're going to doubt yourself. But we're saying to you now, because the energies have changed, and we do know this, that you can take that step now and start creating the life that you want. And the more of you do that, you start seeing a very different world. And that's what we know, which is why we've given you everything. Thank you.
And we are complete.
We'd like to say to all of you, because we're going to end with this, and we're going to have our messenger do this because we said it before, but he holds back like you all do. We have given you everything that you would need to live this really wonderful life and create a manifesto great world. And we know that that's true because we've given you all the information because it's in cosmic consciousness in infinite intelligence, and you all have it. And we know that the only difference was that you didn't know that, but now you can. And we love you all so much. And we're so excited to see the lives you're going to create and the world that you're going to manifest because we know that it's within you. Thank you.